day, but could you share, your vision for the type of church God's put in your heart to plant and build, and even beyond that? Just what does that look like?
You're asking about church planting?
Yeah, just tell me what you're dreaming, basically, for your church planting and church planting in Japan in general, beyond your own church plans.
I grew up in a church. When I became Christian, I started attending church of 20 years already, and it's going to celebrate the 40th year celebration soon. But that church lately just started as one in 40 years history, and the general impression that you get growing up in Japanese church as a young man is that church planting is tragedy. It's suffering, and it doesn't go well, and so you don't want to do. Even if you're called to be minister, you don't want to do church planting. But the thing that I learned in the States or other countries, just to go getting outside of Japan and see what God is doing throughout the earth and the globe, I was very encouraged. Even the young church planters, like 20 years, 30 years, they are passionate to do church planting, and God bless those efforts. And just want to see the churches to be planted, and those churches gospel-centered, the community, the grace-based community, and missional focus. Those real biblical-sounded church to be planted throughout the cities. How that will eventually affect the city as a whole. I saw that in what is happening in the Redeemer also. So a lot of people see that, and also in San Diego through the Harbor Church, and I just got it. I was very excited. I saw myself church planting is something that I'd really like to do, and I want to give Japanese young Japanese generations to have a glimpse of that kind of sense. I want them to go through Christian life and having. If there's one thing that I want to do, I probably want to do in my life. I want to participate in the church planting. I want to see that kind of thing happening, and for that, I want to model how to do church planting. I'm not strong. I'm weak. My weakness and failures. Yet I want to just tell people God can use a weak vessel like me, because it is not at all my church or my kingdom. It's God's kingdom. God can use me and you, and just even if we cannot build the big, huge kind of the history of Christianity or record our name, but even if that doesn't happen, but what if we just enjoy that we are participating in one time in the history together in the church planting? Wouldn't that be just a blessing for them and also for us? And I want them, the Japanese, each students, Christians, to have that kind of sense. And I want to model. And I just want to enjoy the model how church planting is worthwhile, worth trying, and blessing. And I want to see the church planting to be recognized as easier and as worth trying. So my vision, more practically, is I want to see the church planting movement to be in place in the city center area like in Tokyo. I'm now participating, the part of the Redeemer city-to-city network. I went through Redeemer training, 1 month intensive training. I went to I'm part of the City-to-City Asia network. I saw a lot of churches in the world really have they have the same vision. They want to see. They know that the church, that Tokyo, is 34 million people, which is actually the largest city in the world, and yet unreached, strongly, hugely unreached. And if you read the Bible in the last verse of the book of Jonah, talking about the largest city in that time, the most pagan city in that time, and God says, should I not pity Nineveh, which has 120,000 people who do not know from left hand from their right? And if that is God's compassion for the most pagan, the largest city in the world by then, most evil maybe, if that's the compassion that God had, He would have more compassion toward Tokyo. And I want to see that the churches to Tokyo to experience the church planting movement here. So I could tell more, but
That's good, man. You get me all fired up. Man, that Jonah part is so good too. Just God